Then what? Find a tool, the driver pressed anxiously. Idiot. A tiny bug needs tools? Kill it like you always do with bugs. Old Master Chen snapped angrily. If he weren't so weak with pain, he'd have kicked this idiot out already. Got it, Master, just hold on. The driver suddenly stomped down hard. The whole old house fell silent instantly. Lin Yi and Xingzi's mouths formed O's. None expected the driver to act that way. Old Master Chen's eyes bulged, not because the pain was gone, but because it had gone numb. He tried to speak but choked, left speechless. Don't worry, Master, I crushed it, the driver said with relief, stomping a couple times. Old Master Chen's body trembled. The bug was indeed dead, but that stomp turned Old Master Chen into a bloody mess, even more tragic and harrowing, truly a sight to unsettle. Ah, Old Master Chen, as if his nerves had reconnected, let out the most pitiful scream I'd ever heard in my life. It felt profoundly satisfying inside. People like him deserve this fate. Quick, call 911. You idiot, I'll deal with you later. Old Master Chen still kept some composure as the family head. He wouldn't hold on without that mindset. But the phone had no signal, already jammed by me. Contacting the outside world was impossible. Master, no signal. Can't call. The driver helplessly reported. Useless. Can't do a damn thing. Old Master Chen lost his temper, venting at the driver to no effect. He started bleeding heavily all over, his skin deteriorating, a matter of time before death. But he couldn't die. He hadn't paid me yet, dying now was too cheap for him. Just then I walked in and said coldly, Old Master Chen, pick one, money or your life. Seeing me, he nearly collapsed in fear. He thought I was dead, a ghost come back for revenge. Both brothers had said I was long dead. You're not dead? He could hardly believe it, shock written all over his face. Of course I'm not dead. But your end is near. Looking at his wounds, I suppressed a smile. If he didn't go to the hospital soon, his life might not be saved. Most likely, he'd be crippled too. The devouring bug's venom was brutal. Old Master Chen was bleeding all over, skin dissolving. No wonder even Emperor Qianlong feared it. Once entangled, even an emperor would die. Yet a stubborn smile crossed his face. Kid, if you've got guts, kill me. If I die, you'll never get the money in your life. He was still playing that old trick, despite unbearable pain. He stared at me defiantly, afraid to strike. Pathetic. Is that so? I sat down and stared coldly. Take your time. Don't blame me for not warning you. If you go late to the hospital, your life might be saved but your happiness is gone. I wasn't anxious at all. With his skills, he thought he could wear me down. The treasures on him were just scrap now. His blood was dark, venom far worse than I expected. He wagered half his lifetime's happiness against me. I couldn't possibly let him win. At that moment, the driver grew restless. He wanted to protect the master. Killing me could earn merit in Old Master Chen's eyes. Seizing my inattentiveness, he suddenly struck, his knife thrust straight into my waist. He was burly and quite formidable, but to me, he was nothing special. The moment his knife swung, I struck his face with a fierce blow, swift as thunder. Two of his front teeth flew out, blood poured from his nose, and his head buzzed fiercely. Seizing the moment, I kicked him in the chest. His eyes rolled back, he spat blood, and collapsed. The knife dropped to the ground, rolling right in front of Seiko. I didn't snatch the knife, instead, I left it there for her and teasingly asked, "Want to help guard him as well?" Seiko shrank back, clearly afraid. She glanced at the knife on the ground but didn't dare to pick it up. Her strength was nowhere near mine, plus she was wounded and hungry. Her eyes looked haunted, as if she had seen a ghost. She wasn't stupid, she knew the consequences of past mistakes and would never seek death recklessly. Mr. Chen was her employer, blindly sacrificing herself wasn't realistic. Surviving was her first priority. Mr. Chen knew he couldn't beat me. Desperately, he tried crawling toward the door but ended up walking in a circle and back to where he started. For an expert, the Bagua formation was easy to break, but to ordinary people, it was like a ghostly maze, near impossible to escape. Without breaking it, they'd be trapped for life. He crawled back and forth several times, roaring in despair. His cries were pitiful, not willing to surrender to me, but if this dragged on, he'd die. He never expected me to be so ruthless and cunning. My venomous nature terrified him. Blood stained the floor, his face was as white as flour, on the verge of passing out. I stepped closer, cold as a demon, staring at him like he was a mere pest. Mr. Chen, if you're not satisfied, go meet King Yen in the afterlife. I don't want your money, consider it payment for your life. My smile grew more manic, and his expression changed. He trembled all over in fright. Also, I've been with all three of your daughters. If I reveal this, how will the media report it? The Chen family, with a prestigious reputation, would become a laughingstock. I lied to intimidate him, true or not didn't matter anymore. His last defense shattered. His mouth twitched, his face twisted ugly. He had lost utterly. Continuing would cost him not just dignity but happiness in life. Like a shrimp curling up, he knelt, pulling out a check written for 300 million. Kneeling, he offered it with trembling hands. I lost. Spare me, spare the Chen family. It's all my fault. He surrendered, not just paying but apologizing. This was his only chance to survive and the only way to save the family's face. I said before, he'd kneel and pay. Now he was kneeling, holding the 300 million check, word for word. I took the check and warned coldly, remember, offend whoever you want, but never mess with a feng shui master. Then I left, burning all the talismans and coins, dissolving the Bagua formation. Back inside, I took a sip of tea and suddenly spat it into the driver's face. He shuddered, eyes groggy. Don't come near me. The driver, just waking, was terrified upon seeing me, trembling like a mouse seeing a cat, backing away in panic. His front tooth was knocked out, making every word sound leaky. Take your boss and get lost. Don't ever come back, or I'll take your life. My voice was sharp, warning each word. The driver shivered violently and fled out of the ancient house, carrying Mr. Chen's limp body without looking back. Hey, don't go. Come back and save me. Seiko shouted desperately, but the driver ignored her completely. For him, Mr. Chen was his livelihood, his boss who must be protected. Seiko was nothing, there was no time for her. Seiko collapsed in despair, like a deflated balloon. She had crossed the ocean to help the Chen family, never expecting to end up like this. Once the Chen family surrendered completely, no one would rescue her. Her life and death were completely in my hands. Don't leave. Stay and serve my master. Only when she decides to let you go will you be free. Otherwise, you'll be here for life or just die yourself, I said, gripping her chin slowly. Women from island nations tended to have a seductive charm, but Seiko was different, pure-looking. The nine-tailed fox said witches needed to retain their virgin purity to keep their powers, otherwise, they'd lose them. Seiko was innocent and naive, devoid of that seductive aura. Seiko couldn't afford to be defiant anymore. She once hoped the Chen family would save her, now that was gone. Surrender was her only option. Resistance meant dying here, unburied. Like Linyi, Seiko became a servant to the nine-tailed fox. But unlike Linyi, she was neither cowardly nor desperate to live. She feared I would kill her and that the nine-tailed fox might devour her. She didn't want to die. Though she outwardly obeyed, secretly she planned to escape. Once her powers recovered, she'd regain her strength to resist. She refused to be trapped here as a slave, she longed to go home, to flee. But she wasn't rushing to fight back. First, she would heal and recover, then wait for the right moment. She thought she was cunning and scheming, but we and my master had seen through everything long ago. We knew she wanted to run. But once the nine-tailed fox chose her servant, escape was nearly impossible. My master said that as soon as we broke her body, she'd lose her powers and become ordinary, unable to run. She was filled with hostility against us, and if we didn't strip her of her cultivation, she might stab us in the back. Seiko's situation could wait, she was still injured and not ready for action. But Mr. Chen's matter amused me for days on end. This is segment 97 of 144. Please follow the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout while translating into English suitable for American readers. Here is the result. I even made a special inquiry. Old Master Chen isn't dead, but his situation is bleak. His treasured thing is ruined, he's effectively become a eunuch. The devouring parasite is too terrifying. He went to the hospital too late and couldn't save his lower body. He was bleeding heavily and needed a blood transfusion. The hospital called his 3 daughters, but none of them had a matching blood type. This is normal blood type doesn't always correspond to biological relation. But here's the problem, the blood type situation caused everyone to burst out laughing, turning old Master Chen into a laughingstock. It said old Master Chen and his wife both had blood type A, but when the hospital tested their 3 daughters, all were type B. This was a massive joke, 2 parents with blood type A cannot have children with blood type B. In other words, old Master Chen was cuckolded, and it was an elite-level cuckolding. None of the 3 daughters were his biological children. Chen Ling, Chen Yi, and Chen Han, the 3 sisters, were not his flesh and blood. This shocked everyone. Old Master Chen came from a wealthy, powerful family, yet his wife had secretly worn the green hat for years. He raised 3 daughters who weren't even his, becoming a textbook example of a happy dad by mistake. I heard old Master Chen never cared about the kids, didn't even know their grades, and their upbringing was basically all handled by his wife. After she died, he didn't pay attention, only focused on having a son. If it weren't for the life-saving transfusion due to major bleeding, this truth would probably have never come out after decades. Old Master Chen never imagined that someone so high and mighty could be kept in the dark by his own wife. He was so angry he nearly broke down in the hospital. With plenty of money, he quickly found compatible donors and saved his life, but the price was castration. He became an eunuch and the joke of everyone. Suddenly, I recalled the butler's curse that the Chen family line would be cut off, and that terrifying moment when the butler severed his own head. Now these events are unfolding one by one. The curse, though the body is not yet cold, seems to have come true. The 3 daughters are all not biological. Old Master Chen has become a eunuch, and the Chen family's lineage is truly doomed. A chill ran down my spine. Is this fate's coincidence? Or the curse's work? A curse is an extremely fearsome dark art, and the caster pays a heavy price to make hateful words come true. One must not do evil, or the ending will surely be painful. No matter what, the butler can now rest in peace. With the Chen family's fate sealed like this, and old Master Chen gone this far, he can smile in the afterlife. The Chen family's story quickly spread, but I stayed out of it. I still needed to collect 10 copper coins to break my binding. There weren't many coins left. I waited for fated people to come. They wouldn't keep me waiting long. 3 days later, sure enough, a guest arrived. A man in his 40s, wearing name brands and a luxury watch, clearly not short on cash. He showed up at noon, and when I opened the door, he glanced at me and then around the room before frowning. Are you a master? I didn't answer. These titles don't matter, true experts never claim them. What do you want? I asked straight away. No copper coins, no help. Don't waste my time until I get all 10. The man pulled out an ancient copper coin, with the character Su carved on the back, the exact kind I was collecting. He said, my grandmother left this to me. She said if I ran into unexplainable trouble, I should come here to find a master. Having the coin meant he was a fated person. I invited him inside right away. Humbly, I told him I didn't dare call myself a master, but yes, I worked in this field. Whether feng shui, fortune-telling, or exorcism, I could help. The coin had to be returned. It was an heirloom and I would charge a separate fee for the job. The man didn't care about the coin, he only wanted to know if I could truly help him. He didn't want to deal with charlatans. I told him to explain exactly what strange trouble he was facing. I'm good at solving problems. He said the trouble all started with inviting a corpse spirit. His name was Pan Cheng, once a factory screw assembler, making little money and working hard. When short videos became popular, he quit to start live stream sales. There's a saying, when the wind blows, even pigs fly, but Pan Cheng was like an elephant. Months of live sales brought 0 sales and only a handful of viewers. That career wasn't for him. But he was unwilling to give up. Others took off, why not him? Then a childhood friend, Wang Chang, returned home and gave him an idea: invite a corpse spirit. Wang Chang had lived abroad many years, just back from Thailand. They met up and talked. Pan Cheng complained about how tough live streaming was, how competitive, but he still wanted to earn more. Wang Chang said it was a test of financial luck. Pan Cheng's luck was obviously bad. He was destined to be a wage earner. Money was never easy. Then Wang Chang lowered his voice and told him there was a way to boost his luck. Pan Cheng's eyes lit up, eager to hear more. He'd get a cut if he got rich. Wang Chang said that in Thailand there's a strange occult practice called corpse spirit raising. Thailand has many such occult things, raising little spirits, chanting Buddha amulets, and corpse spirit raising is one of them, believed especially effective. This is content segment 98 of 144. Please follow your own logic to process the content below. Keep the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout, and return only the processed result. What is called a corpse immortal refers to those who died unjustly and cannot reincarnate, becoming lonely, helpless wandering spirits with no support. As long as you invite them home to worship and don't let them turn into these lonely ghosts, they will fulfill all your wishes. The more wrongful the death, the more effective the corpse immortal. But there's one condition: you must honor them every day, burning incense and kowtowing 3 times with 9 bows. You can never abandon them for life, or the consequences will be severe. These corpse immortals are corpses engraved with talismans by Thai monks, preserved without decay or rot, their souls attached to bless the worshipper with wealth and fulfill other desires. After hearing this, Pan Cheng got goosebumps all over. He'd never even seen a dead body in his life, let alone dare to keep one. It's terrifying just to imagine. Besides, it was already 2021, how could anyone still believe in such superstitions? Wang Chang rolled his eyes. Why not believe? Many celebrities keep these little ghosts, worship Buddha plaques. I know a few big stars who all have mandalas. Better to believe it's real than not. In Thailand, corpse immortals are the cheapest. Pan Cheng was so poor he couldn't even afford a Buddha plaque, the authentic ones cost tens of thousands. The Yin plaques cost over 100,000, raising little ghosts costs even more. Wang Chang said corpse immortals offered the best value. That's his business, and this time he had brought a corpse immortal for a big real estate tycoon. The corpse had already been prepared, the Thai monks invited, and the corpse immortal created, just waiting to be delivered. He glanced at his van, implying it was carrying the corpse immortal, though they'd have to keep a low profile back home. Even big bosses do this? Pan Cheng asked, shocked. Wang Chang laughed, the richer, the more they believe. It's like rich folks keeping goldfish to attract wealth. Pan Cheng hesitated. Wanting to get rich was fine, but raising a corpse was genuinely scary. Hey, Xianzi, can you let me see that one you've got in your van? Pan Cheng was curious to see it first. At first, Wang Chang refused, saying it wasn't right to look at someone else's item. But Pan Cheng persistently nagged, offering cigarettes and skin care help, and since they were close, Wang finally opened the van. When the door opened, it wasn't the foul stench Pan Cheng imagined, instead came a faint, refreshing fragrance, soothing and pleasant the more he smelled. Wang Chang explained that the Thai solution used to treat the corpse was special, keeping it from rotting or smelling, preserved indefinitely, reassuring him. Pan Cheng saw the corpse wrapped in bandages, dressed in a Thai monk's robe. The body was intact, lifelike, with skin and flesh, a young, beautiful woman covered in strange charms that Pan Cheng couldn't understand. Wang told him she was a female college student who had jumped to her death over heartbreak. Suicides cannot reincarnate and are considered unjustly dead. At first, Pan Cheng didn't take it seriously, keeping a corpse was just too frightening. But seeing this corpse immortal softened his heart. Getting rich wasn't the main thing. He felt sorry for the girl and wanted to be kind by sheltering her to prevent her from becoming a lonely, wandering ghost. Seeing that this corpse immortal was different from what he imagined, Pan Cheng felt tempted. Although eerie, Wang Chang spoke practically, this might be a real chance to get rich. Why not take a chance and go from a bike to a motorcycle? Wang also said many stars and wealthy people use this, so Pan Cheng wanted to try. Xiangzi, I'll take this corpse immortal. Pan Cheng offered a cigarette, feeling that since this one looked young and pretty, buying another might mean a grotesque monster. Better not miss the chance. Wang Chang didn't take the cigarette and smiled wryly. Old Pan, this one's already sold. But if you want, I can get you another. Thai monks haven't left yet. Pan Cheng was curious if the new one would be as nice looking as this. After all, a corpse is a corpse, it's creepy to keep at home. If it looks too scary, he might be afraid to get up at night. Wang laughed. You think you get to pick? Bodies are bodies, most died miserably. How could the death pose look good? It's all luck, no guarantees. Pan Cheng got even more stubborn. I want this exact one, nothing else. What if I get some horrifying corpse? I'd be too scared to even use the bathroom at night. Dead is dead. Wang hesitated, but seeing the business opportunity, he took the cigarette at last. Okay, I can transfer this one to you, 80,000, not a cent less. He said the buyer hadn't inspected the corpse immortal and didn't know what it looked like. Making another is possible but costs more. Usually, they sell for 50 to 60k. This one is a familiar price at 80k, and to cut in front, you'd need to pay double, at least 100k. They were close friends, so Wang wouldn't scam him. Pan Cheng emptied his phone wallet, scrambled for an hour to collect the 80k, then transferred it to Wang Chang and bought the corpse immortal. Wang personally delivered it to Pan Cheng's door, where Pan cleared a small room to worship it like a Guanyu shrine. Before leaving, Wang Chang warned Pan Cheng of some taboos. First, the dead are to be respected, don't offend them. If they're beautiful, don't be tempted. It's better to find a prostitute than mess with a corpse immortal, or the consequences will be terrible. Corpse immortals carry grudges. Second, make offerings daily, burn incense at least once a day, burn joss paper on the 1st and 15th days of the lunar month, and offer more during the ghost festival. Treat her well, and she'll reward you just like you would a bodhisattva. Third, don't be greedy or make reckless wishes. A corpse spirit is a corpse, not a deity. Praying for eternal life is useless. Greed will only ruin you. After giving these instructions, Wang Chang left. Pan Cheng remembered them well, but in the end, couldn't control his desires. The first 2 points were manageable, but the third, who isn't greedy? Human desires are bottomless, and they'll eventually consume a person. Pan Cheng resumed his live-stream shopping sales, offering daily sacrifices to the corpse spirit, hoping for better sales. He didn't ask for much, just enough to get by. He had already invested heavily with no return, and combined with the money spent buying the corpse spirit, he was not only broke but also in debt. If he didn't turn things around, he'd likely be the next corpse spirit. He wasn't young, unmarried, drowning in debt, and unable to bounce back. Suicide by jumping seemed increasingly likely. Raising the corpse spirit gave Pan Cheng some confidence, something to hold on to in his heart. He restarted his live streams, but ran into ridicule from a fellow live streamer. That rival, Gotzi, was Pan Cheng's former co-worker at the factory. They had been on good terms and had left together to do live stream sales. Gotzi was great at short videos and far better at live streaming sales, thriving while Pan Cheng lost everything. Back at the factory, Pan Cheng had helped Gotzi once. When Gotzi's mother was seriously ill and needed surgery, Pan Cheng didn't hesitate to lend more than 20,000 yuan, his entire savings, living on steamed buns for a month. He felt indebted. But when Pan Cheng asked Gotzi for help to boost his sales, Gotzi refused. This live stream business is too deep to handle. You should just go back to the factory and screw bolts, Gotzi said. His tone was sarcastic, supposedly advising Pan Cheng to return, but really mocking him. Pan Cheng took offense and argued back, only to be met with harsh words. Gotzi's wealth had multiplied 100-fold, and Pan Cheng was a worthless loser unworthy of teaming up with him. He urged Pan Cheng to quit live streams and go back to the factory because Pan Cheng was worse than a pig at this. These cutting remarks left Pan Cheng speechless. Maybe Gotzi was right, but he refused to accept it. A few days later, he returned. The feud was settled. Gotzi held no old feelings and continued to mock him relentlessly. Pan Cheng decided to turn a blind eye and focus wholeheartedly on live streaming sales. The liquor he endorsed was high quality, pure in flavor, and reasonably priced, great value for money. At first, his live stream room was so empty there wasn't even a shadow. Gradually, more and more people joined. The chat exploded with strange comments and question marks. What? How did I suddenly jump into the stream while scrolling? What's going on here? I can't stop myself from placing an order, it's a sign I need to stop spending. Did anyone else see a woman standing behind the host? I can't exit the stream, what's happening? I can smell the aroma of the liquor through the screen. I really want to buy some. I drank this liquor when I was alive, still drink it every day, must buy. Is shipping free? Does drinking it help attract female ghosts? The chat flooded the screen, turning the once empty room into a lively scene. The surge in views and engagement boosted sales. Pan Cheng sold out all his stock that day, reaching 200,000 yuan in daily revenue. For the big players, it wasn't much, but for Pan Cheng, this income was impressive and more than covered his previous losses. He began to believe the corpse spirit truly had power and that wealth was within reach. At home, he kept up the worship rituals, offering incense and burning joss paper, treating the corpse spirit like a bodhisattva. With the corpse spirit on his side, he felt destined for sudden fortune. Besides thanking the corpse spirit, he also wanted to thank Wang Chang. He took out his phone and dialed his old friend Xiangzi, but the number showed as disconnected. This number had been in use for years after Xiangzi moved to Thailand, and they had lost touch. Pan Cheng didn't think much of it and decided to thank Xiangzi in person when he returned to the village. As his popularity soared, Pan Cheng's live stream sales became hotter and hotter, with daily revenues climbing steadily. He broke into the platform's top ranks and became a prominent figure in the live stream sales world. But outsiders couldn't understand how he suddenly became so successful. Some said Pan Cheng's livestream was eerie, with faint, fleeting ghostly figures appearing behind him, disappear in a blink, like hallucinations. Others repeatedly watched recordings but saw no ghosts, dismissing it as a stunt. Some suspected Pan Cheng faked it all to boost clicks and traffic, deliberately creating mystery to attract viewers. Pan Cheng scoffed at these claims. He knew his success was thanks to the corpse spirit's protection. But he did start noticing what the chat called weird things. Every time he streamed, he felt a chilly draft behind him, like someone standing there. Yet when he turned around, there was no one. He reviewed the recordings but never saw the woman's shadow the viewers mentioned, likely a prank to scare him. The chat had all kinds of people, he just took it as a joke. His stream was so popular, if real ghosts were there, the whole country would be buzzing and he'd be on the news the very next day. But as time went on, Pan Cheng grew more uneasy about these strange happenings because he sensed the corpse spirit was acting oddly. The most terrifying moment was one night when he got up to use the bathroom. Suddenly, he felt an icy chill at his back and nearly jumped out of his skin. The memory still sent shivers down his spine. This is segment 100/144. Please find the content translated into English below, maintaining the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout. I still remember that night. Pan Cheng had drunk a lot of water and suddenly needed to rush to the bathroom in the middle of the night. As he hurried to wash his hands, a cold, eerie breeze blew by, making him shiver, but he didn't pay much attention. However, when he looked into the mirror, he suddenly noticed an extra figure. It was a blurry silhouette, resembling a woman, standing behind Pan Cheng, with a creepy smile directed at the mirror, so terrifying it sent chills down his spine. Ah! Pan Cheng screamed in fear and reflexively turned around, but there was no one behind him, only the sound of hurried footsteps. He forced himself to suppress the fright and slowly walked out of the room, turning on all the lights. The footsteps seemed to enter the corpse Immortal's room and then abruptly stopped. Normally, Pan Cheng would never enter that room at night. Although the corpse Immortal had made him quite a bit of money, it was, after all, a dead thing, and just looking at it made him uneasy, afraid it would disturb his sleep. But those footsteps were too distinct, curiosity got the better of him. It was late at night, and living alone, how could there be footsteps? It was either a thief or... Pan Cheng didn't dare think too much. Quietly, he opened the door, which creaked, and a gust of cold wind cut against him like a knife. He shivered and hesitated to step inside, whispering a prayer. "Corpse Immortal, I mean no disrespect. I will take good care of you, please don't scare me." Mustering his courage, Pan Cheng peeked through the crack of the door. Suddenly, an eye appeared behind the door, staring back at him through the gap. That eye was extremely eerie, completely white with black sticky liquid swirling in the socket, nothing like a living person's. "Ah, ghost, ghost!" Pan Cheng shouted instinctively, his scalp tingling with terror. He fell to the ground, panic-stricken, and shouted desperately to calm himself. The door slowly opened, but there was no eye, only the quietly sitting corpse Immortal, motionless as if everything before was just an illusion. Pan Cheng gasped for breath, sweating profusely, his heart nearly failing him. Fortunately, there was nothing inside, no thief, and the corpse Immortal remained still. What about the footsteps in the eye? A hallucination, or was he just too nervous? And what about the woman in the mirror? Pan Cheng dared not ponder these thoughts longer. The more he thought, the scarier it became. He feared he was going insane. He quickly returned to his room, buried his head under the covers, seeking comfort. But he barely slept, tormented by nightmares all night, as if someone was pulling at his blanket and breathing in his ear. When he woke, his whole body ached and he felt weak. Even stranger, he hadn't closed the door to the corpse Immortal's room last night, but in the morning it was shut tight, very odd. During the day, Pan Cheng was less scared than the night before. He opened the door, still nothing suspicious inside, yet the feeling remained unsettling. He wanted to ask Wang Chang whether the corpse Immortal could really cause hauntings. Raising the corpse Immortal did bring money, but he had earned enough and didn't want to keep it anymore. However, Wang Chang hadn't returned, and Pan Cheng didn't dare just throw it away. Wang Chang had warned him that once you start raising one, you have to take care of it for life. Abandoning it casually would have severe consequences. After much thought, Pan Cheng took no action. Later, something particularly shocking happened. Gotzi got into trouble. Pan Cheng's sales were booming and income far surpassed Gotzi's. Gotzi grew jealous and started hiring internet trolls to slander Pan Cheng, spreading rumors that Pan Cheng sold fake products and liquor, branding him as a deceitful businessman. Some people indeed believed it. Pan Cheng's sales came under constant attack, and once the atmosphere was manipulated, he had no chance to explain himself and was accused of whitewashing his reputation. In reality, all his goods were genuine. The lies came entirely from Gotzi's behind-the-scenes scheming. Pan Cheng was furious, he never imagined such a despicable person existed. Looking at Gotzi's grimy face, he wished him to rot in hell forever. Gotzi had once done him a favor, but instead of gratitude, he pushed him down when he was already struggling. Now that Pan Cheng was finally gaining ground, Gotzi turned envious and vicious. It was inhuman. A few days later, Gotzi suddenly called Pan Cheng in a trembling, strange voice that was almost incomprehensible. On the other end, Gotzi's voice quivered, with tears and pleading for forgiveness, calling himself inhuman and a beast, even slapping himself, begging Pan Cheng to send away that woman. He said he was very scared. Pan Cheng was baffled. Who was this woman Gotzi mentioned? He never sent anyone to him. The call ended quickly, and before Pan Cheng could respond, the phone was switched off. His mind filled with questions. Was Gotzi possessed or mentally unwell? The next morning, he heard the news. Gotzi had jumped off a building to commit suicide. That call was like a death call. Gotzi fell from over 30 floors, dying a gruesome death, blood splattered on the ground, brains splattered everywhere, eyes wide open, unable to rest in peace. This is the 101st out of 144 sections. Please process the following text according to your logic, keeping the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall formatting intact. Return only the processed result. Gotzi's death was actually good news for Pan Cheng. A man like him deserved to die. Pan Cheng wasn't saddened at all but was curious about the woman Gotzi had mentioned last night. Who was she? The killer? If she was the murderer, Why had Gotzi called him instead of reporting to the police? Pan Cheng racked his brain but couldn't figure it out. After Gotzi died, the smear campaign against Pan Cheng vanished, his livestream sales returned to normal and business boomed. His revenue soared, even pushing him into the top 3. Human desire is boundless. Pan Cheng was no longer the man he used to be. He made big money, bought houses and cars, amassed a fortune worth over 100 million yuan, but he wasn't satisfied. He wanted more. He kept worshipping the corpse spirit, offering constant incense and prayers, hoping the spirit would bless him to become the top livestream seller, a legend who would make even more money. It seemed the corpse spirit did hear him. The first and second place sellers both committed suicide by hanging themselves. With those 2 major rivals gone, Pan Cheng smoothly took the lead, gained platform resources, and made piles of cash. Money flowed into his pockets like a river. But Pan Cheng's greed only grew bigger. He kept demanding more from the corpse spirit. He couldn't stop, craving more luxury cars, beautiful women, and wealth, a path of no return. Who could resist such temptation? Then one day, the corpse spirit ceased to respond, and stranger things began happening. The wine Pan Cheng sold turned into corpse oil, his face masks turned into human skin, both terrifying and disgusting. The complaints and reports flooded in. He was taken to the police station, facing lawsuits. Overnight, Pan Cheng's reputation collapsed. He might face jail time, huge compensation costs, and the platform planned to ban him. Everything happened too fast. Pan Cheng couldn't react, it felt like a nightmare. The whirlwind of events caught him off guard. But Pan Cheng was no ordinary man anymore. Used to a luxurious life, he couldn't live without fancy cars and beautiful women. He couldn't go back. Losing all of it would be worse than death. After being bailed out, Pan Cheng immediately went to worship the corpse spirit, desperate to find out why the spirit was no longer effective and why the strange incidents kept happening. No matter how he prayed, the corpse spirit didn't manifest, seeming powerless. Without the corpse spirit, Pan Cheng was nothing but a factory worker screwing bolts, powerless to turn his luck around. Fortunately, the corpse spirit finally appeared in a dream. In the dream, the spirit told Pan Cheng that incense and paper money were useless now. If he wanted continued protection, he had to offer fresh blood and raw flesh. Only that would strengthen the spirit's power. Pan Cheng woke up drenched in sweat, believing the dream's words without hesitation. He used his own blood and bought human flesh as offerings. After leaving the offerings and coming back, the fresh blood and flesh were gone, and bloodstains lingered at the spirit's mouth. Pan Cheng's legs turned weak with fright. Stumbling, he rushed out and slammed the door tight. The corpse spirit was truly alive. The previous strange events were not hallucinations, they were her doing. Pan Cheng was terrified. Offering a corpse was one thing, but this corpse was still alive. How horrifying. What if one day the spirit wanted to devour him? What then? Though terrifying, the corpse spirit's powers returned once fed fresh blood. Later, an official investigation revealed that the courier package was switched by someone intending to frame Pan Cheng. The case was dropped, his reputation restored, and his livestream channel saved. But Pan Cheng felt no joy. The corpse spirit's power was frightening, as if she controlled everything. She could let him live or kill him so completely he wouldn't even leave a corpse. He recalled Wang Cheng's parting advice, "Don't be greedy, or the corpse spirit will lead you by the nose." Now Pan Cheng felt utterly controlled by her, unable to break free. His biggest headache was the spirit's growing appetite. Incense and paper money weren't enough anymore, she demanded blood and flesh more and more each time. Worse, whenever Pan Cheng offered sacrifices, he felt the spirit staring at him, salivating. The sensation was eerily real and spine-chilling. At night, Pan Cheng often had nightmares, feeling someone pulling off his covers, breathing at his ear yet waking to find no one there. The eerie feeling grew stronger and more real, Pan Cheng's fear deepened. Finally, he decided to abandon the corpse spirit. No amount of money was worth his life. But he dared not dispose of her lightly. Wang Cheng had said serving a corpse spirit was a lifetime commitment, no casual abandonment allowed. Pan Cheng trusted Wang Cheng had a solution. If he could find him, maybe he could resolve the corpse spirit problem. On the weekend, Pan Cheng went back to his village to track down Wang Cheng's phone number and even went to his home. Just as he reached the doorstep, a tall, striking woman stepped out, almost as tall as Pan Cheng's roughly 6 feet. She had a large frame, an hourglass figure, heavy makeup, a short skirt, definitely a knockout. Pan Cheng felt she looked familiar but couldn't place where he'd seen her before. He stood there, blank-minded, trying hard to recall. "Hey, old Pan, what are you doing here?" "Long time no see." The woman recognized Pan Cheng and greeted him warmly. They knew each other, but Pan Cheng still couldn't remember who she was. This is segment 102 of 144. Please process the following content according to your logic. Keep the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout intact. Return only the processed result. For a beauty like this, Pan Cheng's memory should be sharp. He shouldn't have forgotten her. You know me? Pan Cheng asked awkwardly, smiling uneasily as he greeted the beauty but couldn't place her. The beauty laughed aloud. Of course I know you. When we were kids, we wore the same pair of pants growing up, and we used to swim together in the river. Pan Cheng was stunned, thinking it impossible. He had never played with girls like that. Was she mistaken? Beautiful lady, you must have the wrong person, Pan Cheng said awkwardly again. Not every old Pan knows me. The beauty pouted teasingly and gave him a light slap. Stop joking. I'm Wang Cheng. Years ago, I had surgery in Thailand. You know. Hearing that, Pan Cheng felt as if struck by lightning. His mind buzzed. She's Wang Cheng? Wang Cheng went to Thailand and became a woman? No, Pan Cheng had just seen him a few months ago, and back then he was still a real tough guy. Such surgery and recovery take at least 1 or 2 years. It's impossible to become a woman in such a short time. You, stop kidding. You're Wang Cheng's girlfriend, right? Don't lie to me. Pan Cheng couldn't find a more reasonable explanation. The more he looked at the woman in front of him, the more she resembled Wang Cheng, and an eerie chill ran down his spine. The beauty said a lot to prove she was Wang Cheng and even showed her ID as proof. Indeed, she really was Wang Cheng, only that she had undergone surgery and become a woman. Wang Cheng had been a woman for many years. Life in Thailand was hard early on. He was even so poor he couldn't eat. Later, with introductions, he had the surgery and transformed into a perfect woman, making a lot of money quickly through sponsorships. Afraid of village gossip, he hadn't returned home until recently, when his parents fell ill and unexpectedly ran into Pan Cheng. Wait, Pan Cheng interrupted. How many years have you been a woman? 7 or 8 years, I can't remember exactly, Wang Cheng said with a bitter smile. Her smile was beautiful. There was no trace she had once been a man. That's impossible. I just saw you a few months ago when you were still a real tough guy. How could you be a woman? Pan Cheng's face turned pale. A cold shiver ran down his back. Ha! Impossible. I've long become a woman. I haven't seen you in ages. Wang Cheng denied it, claiming she didn't see Pan Cheng that day and had been a woman for a long time. Pan Cheng's head buzzed as if hit by lightning, his whole being numbed with pain. He crouched, clutching his head, heart pounding violently, as if it would burst out of his throat. Impossible. If this really was Wang Cheng, then who did he see that day? What was that corpse spirit? Had he encountered something evil? Come with me. Pan Cheng suddenly grabbed Wang Cheng and headed straight home. Having become a woman, Wang Cheng didn't have as much strength as Pan Cheng and was pulled along. Once inside, Wang Cheng saw the things in the house, screamed sharply, then collapsed backward, trembling with fear. Corpse spirit. You're raising a corpse spirit. Wang Cheng stammered, panic rendering her almost speechless. Clearly, she knew what a corpse spirit was. What are you afraid of? Didn't you sell this to me? That day you said raising a corpse spirit could change one's luck and bring fortune. It's cost-effective, many celebrities and businessmen raise them, and you even suggested I raise one too. Pan Cheng recited their previous conversation in detail, trying to get Wang Cheng to admit it. But Wang Cheng shook her head. What are you talking about? When did I ever sell you a corpse spirit? In Thailand, corpse spirits are evil, raising them is taboo. Although they can bring fortune, the cost is huge. The more you give, the heavier the price. Everyone in Thailand knows this. People would rather keep vicious little ghosts than raise a corpse spirit that means courting death. Pan Cheng's legs went weak, he sank to the ground, face pale and eyes glazed over. What was going on? She was clearly Wang Cheng, so why was she denying it? Had he been possessed that day? If he didn't see Wang Cheng that day, then who did he see? Why sell him a corpse spirit? Why harm him? Questions flooded his mind, each more painful than the last, his head feeling like it would explode. He clutched his head and screamed silently, taking a long time before calming down. Just as he recovered, Wang Cheng left. She said she was scared of the corpse spirit and couldn't stay a moment longer. The sight of it made her shudder, it was too sinister. She urged Pan Cheng to dispose of the corpse spirit quickly. According to her, no one in Thailand who raised a corpse spirit ended well, they almost all died tragically. Their commonality was that they'd once become rich overnight but died suddenly soon after. The corpse spirit would take lives. It was black magic. After Wang Cheng left, Pan Cheng suddenly stood, his eyes resolute. He looked at the corpse spirit and made a decision. He would burn the corpse spirit, no matter the consequences. He would never raise it again. He didn't believe a corpse, turned to ash, could still cause trouble. Fear had almost cost Pan Cheng his sanity, and nearly his life. Choosing a midday under the blazing sun when yang energy was strongest, he loaded the corpse spirit into his vehicle and drove to a remote deserted mountain, planning to burn it and bury the ashes, building a tomb and erecting a headstone, to at least give her a proper farewell. When no one else was around, he carried the corpse spirit to the hidden foot of the mountain, knelt and apologized, saying it was unavoidable and he was scared, begging her not to blame him. No sooner had he finished speaking than he looked up to see the corpse spirit glaring at him with hatred, its eyes fierce as if ready to kill. With no way out, Pan Cheng could only grit his teeth and try to start a fire. He gathered a lot of dry wood around the corpse spirit, pulled out his lighter, but it wouldn't light no matter how many times he tried. Sweat trickled down his forehead, his anxiety growing with each passing moment. Despite the bright sun overhead, cold sweat poured down his back, even a glance at the corpse spirit made his scalp tingle. He kept trying the lighter in vain, thinking it must be broken, when suddenly he felt a breath on the back of his neck and icy chill ran down his spine, his heart pounding wildly. He didn't dare turn around and stared straight ahead, trying to confirm if the corpse spirit was still there. But the woodpile before him was empty, the corpse spirit had vanished. Who had just breathed on him? Pan Cheng recalled the phrase ghost blowing out the light and shuddered all over, suspecting it was the corpse spirit. He wanted to run but it was too late. Suddenly, two cold hands clamped around his neck from behind. With a scream, a terrifying aura swept through him. Pan Cheng's heart stopped for a moment, he knew the corpse spirit meant to kill him. The hands gripped like iron chains. Desperately struggling, Pan Cheng suddenly had a flash of inspiration. He suddenly fell backward, hitting the back of his head hard against a rock. Blood poured out as his head spun dizzily. But the move worked, the hands squeezing him seemed to loosen, and his body tumbled down the mountain. As he rolled, Pan Cheng grabbed a tree to stop himself. But he remembered he had fallen with the corpse spirit. How was he now alone? It was deeply unsettling. Who had really grabbed his neck? And where had the corpse spirit gone? Filled with confusion and fear, Pan Cheng hurried down the mountain and drove home. On the road, ghostly flashes of a woman's figure appeared intermittently in the rearview mirror, vanishing as quickly as they came. Pan Cheng widened his eyes to look carefully, but there was no one there. Though no one sat in the back seat, it felt as if someone was, sending chills down his spine. Back home, he was so terrified he crawled under the covers, muffled his head, and shook uncontrollably. It was too horrifying. He didn't dare uncover the blanket, fearing the corpse spirit might be lurking by his bed. Perhaps from exhaustion or sheer fright, he gradually fell asleep. How long he slept, he wasn't sure, but a sudden, eerie creaking of the door woke him. The sound was strange and harsh, not like the wind rattling a door. Normally, Pan Cheng wouldn't care, but now his nerves were shot, close to breaking. He got up to check. The door was clearly closed, yet the creaking came from behind it. The house was empty except for the corpse spirit, which, though mysteriously disappeared earlier, had long since moved out. Wiping sweat from his brow, he gripped the doorknob and summoned his courage to open it. What he saw stunned him, the corpse spirit had returned. She twisted her head unnervingly, making an eerie creak-creak sound. Seeing Pan Cheng, she suddenly stopped and gave a chilling laugh. Fell down the mountain and twisted my neck. Give me a piece of your flesh to heal up. Her voice was distorted, like a broken recording or a duck being strangled. And no, maybe not, Pan Cheng's pupils dilated, terror peaking, his face pale as he scrambled to flee. The corpse spirit did not pursue. He slammed the door and fled his home, hiding out in a hotel. One day, he decided to go live on stream. As soon as the camera turned on, a grotesque face flashed on the screen. It was the corpse spirit, her mouth wide open, roaring wildly. Come back quickly, let me bite you. Or I'll make sure you die without a trace. She looked like a vicious demon, her voice threatening, as if she might crawl right out of the screen. Pan Cheng's legs went weak with fear. He hurriedly shut off the stream. It was terrifying, he couldn't see anyone, yet the demon appeared. Suddenly, a rapid knocking sounded on the door, clattering eerily. Who's there? Pan Cheng called out loudly, but no answer came. The knocking grew stranger. He quickly peered through the peephole and saw a woman's thick hair outside, but no feet. His heart clenched, recalling elders saying ghosts' feet never touch the ground, immediately thinking of that terrifying corpse spirit. Frozen with fear, Pan Cheng didn't dare open the door and instead decided to run. Luckily, living on the third floor, he jumped out the window, using the air conditioner unit to climb down, a daring escape. During the escape, Pan Cheng resolved he couldn't keep running forever. He had to get rid of the corpse spirit to regain a normal life. He recalled the copper coins and address at home and decided to seek my help to solve this. After hearing Pan Cheng's story, my heart sank. I couldn't help but ask, If raising these corpse spirits can bring wealth, why doesn't Wang Cheng, who sells them, keep one himself? Pan Cheng was speechless. After all, it was greed that had blinded him. The truth was, while corpse spirits had uses, they demanded a terrifying price, they were profoundly evil and taboo. Another mystery remained: who was the Wang Cheng turned into a woman? And who was the Wang Cheng selling corpse spirits? Solving that puzzle would clear the path forward, leaving only the corpse spirit itself to deal with. Though the corpse spirit didn't consume much flesh and blood, maybe making it somewhat manageable, continuing to raise it would only make matters worse. I said to Pan Cheng, "Take me to see this corpse spirit. This is segment 104/144. Please handle the following content according to your logic, keeping the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout. Only return the processed result." Pan Cheng warned me, "Be careful yourself. If anything happens, I'm not responsible." I laughed, "We'll talk about money after the job. If anything happens, I take full responsibility." Pan Cheng nodded and drove me home in his luxury car. Along the way, he said the corpse Immortal was vicious. He'd taken her to the mountains before, but somehow she came back on her own. When we arrived at the door, Pan Cheng was too scared to go in, fearing the corpse Immortal would take his life. I had no choice but to enter alone. The house was filled with cold drafts and an eerie atmosphere. I shouted, "Demon, come out and face me." Drawing out a yellow talisman, I prepared to deal with this evil Thai corpse Immortal. The so-called corpse Immortal is a spirit bound inside a corpse by talismans. Due to lingering resentment and a bit of preservation technique, the body remains uncorrupted. I initially didn't take it seriously, but Pan Cheng had fed it fresh blood and raw meat, plus empowered it with Thai spells, making it far more dangerous than an ordinary vengeful ghost. After entering, I didn't use any tricks, just called out to lure it out, no response. The room was thick with negative energy but completely silent. With no other option, I carefully approached the room Pan Cheng mentioned, from which the dark aura seeped beneath the door. It had to be there. I gripped the doorknob, feeling an icy chill like the coldness of death. Something was definitely behind the door. I didn't open it immediately. Instead, I bit my finger and wrote a spell on the door. "Exorcise evil spirits, regulate yin and yang, Supreme Lord Lao Jun, swift as decree." Reciting the charm, I struck the door with my palm. Suddenly, a chilling, terrifying wail issued from behind the door, as if being blasted open. "Huh? Trying to ambush me? You're still green." Probably the exorcists Pan Cheng hired before were useless, couldn't even pull off a sneak attack. Taking advantage, I burst through the door. There was no corpse Immortal in the room, only a shrine. Something was crouching behind the curtain, blurry and indistinct. Pretty good at hiding. If you want to play, you found the right opponent. I pulled out a prepared jar and threw Black Dog's blood onto the curtain. Black Dog's blood is a potent evil repellent. Contact severely injures restless corpses, often disintegrating weaker ones instantly. Sure enough, black smoke rose, sizzling with a burnt smell, disgusting to the extreme. Sharp, piercing screams echoed. Then the window suddenly slammed open and a mass of rotting flesh burst out. That was the corpse Immortal. The Black Dog's blood corroded her body painfully. Realizing she couldn't win, she fled. I wasn't about to let her escape. I threw a yellow talisman, sparks flew like broken electric wires, power surging fiercely. She screeched and fell out the window. Through the window, I saw her face, chunks of rotten flesh, horribly grotesque, her body decayed and repulsive. The Black Dog's blood was powerful but hadn't killed her. This fall alone was terrifying enough to scare anyone to death. I looked out the window but saw nothing, only a slimy, disgusting puddle left behind. The oppressive aura dissipated. "Master, where's the corpse Immortal?" Pan Cheng rushed in, clearly afraid I was hurt. "She fell," I said, pointing down. "So, what do we do?" Pan Cheng was both scared and relieved. After all, I did drive her off, but since she wasn't killed, would she come back for revenge? "Don't worry. She can't leave this neighborhood while I'm watching," I reassured him. Severely injured, she couldn't get far. Still, I had to admit, she was stubborn, thanks entirely to Pan Cheng feeding her fresh blood and meat for this resilience. I pulled out a compass, dripped blood onto it, and traced a spell with 2 fingers, seek spirits and chase shadows, swift as decree. Once the incantation was finished, the compass needle spun wildly. The corpse Immortal's heavy negative energy ensured the compass could pinpoint her, she wouldn't escape. We headed downstairs following the compass. Pan Cheng lost his fear and called out, "Master, Master," the whole way, completely different from before. He hadn't believed me at first but was now fully convinced. In times like these, there are many frauds, true masters are rare. Fake masters scam money and favors, but real masters have no need for wealth. What's down here? I asked Pan Cheng, the compass pointing underground. The parking garage. I'll take you there. Pan Cheng led me down. As we entered, the compass stopped moving. A cold wind blew. Pan Cheng shuddered and quickly hid behind me. Master, is she here? Where exactly? I didn't answer. The garage was dim and packed with cars. I smelled a strong metallic scent of blood about 10 meters to the right, something I dreaded. The corpse Immortal might have killed someone here. After all, a severely injured corpse Immortal needs human blood to survive, or the lingering effects of Black Dog's blood and talismans will torment her. There was a lot of cat fur and bloodstains on the ground. I sighed heavily. Fortunately, it was a cat, not a person. Don't make a sound. Stay close. I instructed Pan Cheng, holding a 5 Emperor coin in one hand and, in the other, an 8 trigram mirror and a red thread dipped in Black Dog's blood. The closer we got, the heavier the aura. Beneath the car came a low, beast-like growl that sent chills down the spine. Blood stains spotted the ground clearly. Something was definitely under that car. I crouched down and looked under the car, only to witness a scene so brutal it made me nauseous. A cat's belly had been slit open, its intestines spilled all over the ground. A creature that didn't seem human, hair disheveled, body rotting, face twisted into a grotesque grimace, with fresh blood smeared at the corners of its mouth, was sucking the cat's blood and gnawing on its flesh, exuding a heavy aura of darkness. The cat was still alive, its eyes wide open in agony, staring at me with hopelessness. It was barely breathing. Suddenly, a piercing scream echoed, and the creature violently snapped the cat's neck before hurling its bloody head toward me. It finally noticed me. The cat's suffering ended as its severed head flew at me, reeking of blood. I quickly dodged. Glancing back, the corpse spirit had vanished. This thing was truly eerie. Master, it's on the roof. Pan Cheng backed up several steps in fear, pointing at the car's rooftop. Shut up. Didn't I tell you to keep quiet? I snapped urgently. But it seemed too late. The corpse spirit had found the culprit. If Pan Cheng spoke, wasn't that just asking for trouble? Originally, the corpse spirit was crouching on the roof, twisting its neck and limbs like Sadako, but when it saw Pan Cheng, it lunged wildly. It let out a sharp, terrifying scream, knocking Pan Cheng down and biting into his neck. Help! Master, help me! Pan Cheng screamed, a large wet patch spreading on his pants. Covered in Black Dog's blood, the corpse spirit's face had distorted into a horrifying mask, utterly terrifying him into collapse. I hurriedly crawled out from under the car and activated the Bagua mirror, but it was already too late. Qian in 8 directions, Koan's 4 wills, Li cuts demons, Dui drives away evil, Bagua follow the will, swiftly reveal divine power. As the incantation left my lips, the Bagua mirror emitted black and white light that shone on the corpse spirit. It screamed, recoiling as if electrocuted by sunlight, trying to shield its eyes. The piercing light stabbed its entire body. Frightened, it abandoned Pan Cheng and ran. Trying to run? No way. I chased after it, tracing red lines in the air that wrapped tightly around its neck, glowing instantly and locking it in place, completely immobilized. I pulled out a 5 Emperor's copper coin and pressed it onto its forehead, subduing its soul. It was trapped utterly. Its corpse twisted and convulsed, fully under my control. Killing it would take just a second. Who sold you to Pan Cheng? Speak! I demanded angrily. Though its soul was alive, it struggled to speak, stammering broken words. Its body was severely damaged. Summer vacation, murder, murder, it kept repeating, but I couldn't make sense of it. I suspected it knew the truth since becoming a corpse spirit was voluntary, its soul was conscious. Murder, murder, its voice was eerie, chilling me to the bone. Who was the one who killed her? At that moment, Pan Cheng suddenly mustered courage, snatched the Bagua mirror I had dropped, and stabbed fiercely into the corpse spirit's chest, right at the heart. Though the Bagua mirror wasn't sharp, its black and white light pierced straight through the corpse spirit's heart. It howled in agony and misery, coughing out a cloud of black vapor as the enchantments on its body dissipated, turning it utterly lifeless like a dead fish. Pan Cheng shouted excitedly, dead. Finally dead. We won, completely oblivious to the massive wet stain on his pants. I slapped the mirror from his hand as it fell and shattered. What the hell? Why'd you hit me? Pan Cheng panicked, touching his face in confusion. When did I say for you to kill her? Don't touch my Bagua mirror, I said sternly. The priority was unearthing the truth behind all this. Who was Wang Chang, and why did he sell the corpse spirit to Pan Cheng? Did I need him to kill the corpse spirit? I didn't expect him to actually act and to use the Bagua mirror I left behind, too. Clever, apparently. Master, I was just trying to help. Isn't it better if she's dead? Master, how much do you want? I'll pay right now. You did great, Pan Cheng said, pulling out his phone to make a payment. I smiled but didn't ask for money. Master, don't scare me. Are you possessed by a ghost? That smile is too weird, Pan Cheng said nervously, sweating, avoiding my gaze. I stared at him, and he quickly looked away, clearly hiding something. You killed her, didn't you? Don't hide it from me. I didn't even ask, just accused, hoping to make him slip up. You're crazy. I didn't kill her. She was already dead, just a corpse spirit now. Pan Cheng panicked like a caught thief, his face turning pale. Sure enough, something was off about this guy. The corpse spirit's case wasn't that simple. All I heard at home was his one-sided story. I was completely in the dark about the truth. Now I was certain, he was either hiding something or flat out lying. There was definitely something fishy behind the corpse spirit's death. This is content segment 106/144. Please process the following text according to your logic. Keep the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout intact. Return only the processed result. Pan stubbornly refused to tell the truth, but his behavior was too abnormal, clearly hiding something from me. He was originally terrified of the corpse spirit, so scared earlier that he even wet himself. Yet the moment the corpse spirit spoke, he suddenly stabbed it to death with a trident, displaying an oddly bold courage. Obviously, he wanted to silence it. Who would believe he had no ulterior motives? I grabbed his neck and pressed him against the wall, coldly asking, "Stop playing tricks. What are you hiding? Speak up now, or don't blame me for being ruthless. There are rules when dealing with dark matters involving the realms of yin and yang. Lying will only harm us feng shui masters." I was not going to let him off. Pan shouted angrily, "Let go. I'll give you money, just get away." I sneered, "If you're not honest, I have no obligation to protect you." With 2 fingers making a twisting hand seal, I chanted a spell. Soon the corpse spirit suddenly stood up like a zombie, staring at Pan fiercely with a ferocious expression. This wasn't a resurrection, it was me controlling the corpse to intimidate him. Want to fight me? You're way out of your league. Pan's face turned pale, lips blue, his legs trembling. Impossible, she's dead. Let me go. He tried desperately to escape. The corpse spirit I controlled slowly advanced, extending its decayed claws, aiming to stab his chest. He had just stabbed the corpse spirit to death, now I was making it rip his heart out alive. I didn't believe he wouldn't be scared. Still hiding the truth and being stubborn? Did he think we feng shui masters were easy to fool? Pan broke down, okay. Master, please save me, I don't want to die. Sorry, I lied to you. Tears streaming down his face, his legs gave out and he collapsed. Once he fell, I released the spell. Tell me everything you've been hiding, one by one. I stared at him, giving him one last chance. Squatting and shivering, Pan finally told the truth. The corpse spirit was called Meiling, a college student who came to work at the factory during summer break. At that time, Pan hadn't started live streaming, he was just a factory worker. Meiling was beautiful, the campus belle, but from a poor family, working to pay tuition. The factory environment was complicated, with messy relationships between men and women. Female workers often lied about being married to avoid harassment. Meiling caught the eye of a supervisor with authority and power who was ruthless and unscrupulous. Many women at the factory had been exploited by him. At a karaoke party, the supervisor distributed red envelopes to tempt everyone to drink, targeting Meiling. The more she drank, the more red envelopes she got. Meiling got drunk and disoriented. The supervisor took the chance to lead her into a private room. When she regained consciousness, she cried out and wanted to call the police. Out of fear of jail, the supervisor cruelly slammed her head against the sink, killing her, blood splattering everywhere. 3 people remained at the scene, a trusted men under the supervisor waiting to pick up the pieces. Pan was drunk and unqualified to participate. He was there just for the red envelopes. After drinking, he collapsed quietly on the sofa. The supervisor informed them of the situation. Pan immediately sobered up but, scared of trouble, pretended to still be drunk to sneak away. The supervisor wasn't stupid, knew the truth, and wouldn't let him leave. He claimed all who accepted red envelopes were accomplices and forced Pan to help handle the corpse. If he didn't cooperate, Pan wouldn't have a good outcome. If the supervisor got caught, he would drag Pan into jail together. Pan, uneducated and ignorant of the law, normally only watched legal skits online. Hearing this, he was truly frightened and dared not run. The supervisor then set a trap, saying Meiling was now at his disposal. Given Pan's situation, he wouldn't have a chance with a college girl anyway. If they kept it secret, no one would know. Pan had the expertise to handle the corpse. Then the supervisor shoved Pan over and gifted Meiling to him, fully implicating Pan. Pan didn't dare touch Meiling, she was already dead. He wasn't a bad person but had succumbed under the supervisor's threats. The other three were different. Before Meiling was fully cold, they committed unspeakable acts. Afterwards, coerced by the supervisor, they all helped move Meiling's body from the KTV and buried it deep in a remote mountain where it wouldn't be found. Afterwards, the supervisor gave each participant 10,000 yuan to keep quiet, forbidding even their families from knowing, promising future promotions. Pan would even become a team leader. Pan knew there was no turning back. By burying the corpse, they all became accomplices. He dared not call the police or reveal anything. The police and Meiling's family came to the factory, but the supervisor was lucky enough to evade investigation, and the body was never found. The case became a missing persons report. Later, Pan was promoted to team leader but was haunted by guilt and soon quit. The supervisor, fearing he might leak secrets, gave him 30,000 yuan upon leaving. Pan used the money and a guy named Gotzi to start a livestream selling business. One thrived, the other went bankrupt, losing all savings and accumulating debts. Gotzi said the livestream selling world was treacherous, with both hosts and consumers being taken advantage of like cutting leaks. This is content segment 107 of 144. Please follow your own logic to process the following text. Keep the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout intact. Return only the processed result. When Pan felt cornered, he met Pan Cheng. Wang introduced him to the corpse Immortal, but the price was too high. Pan couldn't afford it. Wang suggested he find a corpse that met the requirements himself. Those who died unjustly or tragically were the most effective. Suddenly, Pan thought of Meiling, who had died a wrongful death buried in a remote mountain he knew about. She fit the criteria, and feeling some guilt, he decided to use her as the corpse Immortal. Pan steeled himself and, with Pan Cheng, dug up the body. Wang was surprised to see Meiling's corpse, which should have been severely decomposed but was instead well preserved. Fine hair had even grown, and her nails remained intact, making her look like a zombie from a TV show but without fangs. Wang explained this was due to resentment blocking her throat. Meiling was destined to become a zombie. Pan was scared and wanted to give up, but Wang said corpses like that make the most powerful corpse immortals, 10 times stronger than ordinary ones, and offered a 20% discount. Tempted by the savings and convinced by Wang's claims of doubled effectiveness, Pan decided to take the gamble. They loaded the corpse onto a vehicle, and 10 days later, it was processed into a perfect corpse Immortal. Meiling's appearance was restored to how she looked alive, with no zombie traits, and covered in spells. A Thai monk blessed her, so she wouldn't turn into a zombie. Pan placed the corpse Immortal safely and paid in full using the last savings he'd fraudulently taken from his mother. The whole family depended on him to turn their fortunes around, or they would all be doomed. Wang took the money, gave a few parting warnings, and left. Pan's livestream career skyrocketed quickly, and within a few months he earned a lot. His stream was eerily haunted, as if cursed, but the money kept pouring in. Pan concealed Gotzi's death, which had actually been caused by a request to the corpse Immortal. Gotzi was ungrateful and jealous of Pan, constantly slandering him. On the first day of the lunar month, Pan ruthlessly burned joss paper and offered sacrifices, praying for the corpse Immortal to kill Gotzi. The corpse Immortal responded. Gotzi died a horrible death. Pan felt like a god, able to make anything happen. But Pan didn't realize that dealing with ghosts and gods carries a price. He thought a few offerings could buy him anything, but that was far from true. Eventually, the corpse Immortal began sending him dreams, demanding fresh blood in living flesh. Otherwise, she would take back everything and make his life miserable, imprisoned and ruined, undoing all his efforts. Pan had barely clawed his way to the top. There was no way he'd give it up. He had to comply, seeking fresh blood in living flesh as instructed. But things spiraled out of control. Even Pan Cheng, who helped him create the corpse Immortal, became extremely sinister. After Pan fed the corpse Immortal fresh blood and white meat, she grew more and more evil. Like he said, it felt as if she wanted to devour him. Pan sought Wang's help, only to find that Wang had turned into a woman and claimed never to have met Pan or made the corpse Immortal. Pan could understand the corpse Immortal's malevolence. After all, Meiling died so tragically and nearly became a zombie. But Wang's behavior left him baffled. He had clearly met Wang that day, even dug up the corpse together. The corpse Immortal was also crafted by Wang. How could Wang suddenly deny knowing him? Pan suspected he might have been dreaming the whole time, that reality was an illusion. But whether true or not, he wasn't willing to give up what he had or to die. He resolved to destroy the corpse Immortal. He failed and almost died several times because of it. He hired many sorcerers, but they all fled in fear, until finally he found me. After hearing his story, I slapped him so hard his mouth bled and his head buzzed. Pan was stunned, trembling as he saw my rage. Why did you hit me? He asked nervously. Are you even human? You knew the corpse Immortal was evil, yet you used Meiling's body to create it instead of reporting it. I scolded. Pan hadn't killed anyone, but he was still responsible. Using corrupt magic like the corpse Immortal harmed countless people. The corpse Immortal amplifies human desire. The more Pan wanted, the bigger its appetite grew, from incense offerings to fresh blood and living flesh, until it would consume him completely. Pan's death would be just deserts. But this evil soul-binding magic is far worse. It causes immeasurable sin and has no redemption. Meiling was innocent, why should she suffer so? Pan whispered an apology and began slapping himself, trying to prove his remorse. I grabbed his hand to stop him. If you truly regret it, you wouldn't be afraid of the corpse Immortal exposing the truth and try to silence it. Though Pan claimed repentance, he was really scared his secret would get out and wanted to kill the corpse Immortal. Without my pressure, he would never confess and would have lived peacefully. With the corpse Immortal dead, Pan added another sin. Meiling wasn't murdered, but he desecrated her body. Pan hung his head in silence. I didn't believe his repentance. I'll give you a chance to make amends, I said. Puzzled, Pan asked, how? I sighed, looking at Meiling's corpse. Justice must be served, the villain punished. You go after that corrupt official and put him behind bars. Only then can Meiling rest in peace. No way, I'd go to prison too. Pan panicked. He feared losing his wealth and wouldn't dare take the risk. Plus, the evidence was long gone, going to the police might be useless. I scoffed, you're a fool. If you don't take him down, he'll destroy you first. Dreaming of living a good life? That's just foolish. Pan was completely baffled, thinking I was talking nonsense. The supervisor hadn't contacted him for a long time, why would he cause trouble now? I slapped him again to snap him out of it. Pan Cheng wasn't helping him at all, he was trying to harm him. The practice of raising a corpse Immortal was a dead end, and the only outcome was a miserable death. Pan Cheng was a fake identity set up by someone who wanted to kill Pan. They used this sinister method to keep the police from investigating. Who wanted to kill Pan? Only the supervisor who murdered Meiling. Pan knew the truth, and the supervisor was worried that Pan might expose him, so he sent people to eliminate him. The trigger was Pan's resignation. The supervisor feared losing control and had to get rid of Pan. If Pan had told me the truth earlier, I would have seen through it immediately. As soon as he mentioned it, I could analyze it with my toes. It was too simple. This kind of murder scheme was trivial in my eyes. If you want to live, you have to take out that murderous supervisor first and avenge Meiling. Otherwise, you're as good as dead. I said slowly to Pan, my gaze shifting to Meiling's corpse as I clenched my fist. A young girl in the prime of her life, who deserved a bright future, instead met a beast. Truly, fate was cruel. Since you've met me, this is fate. I will help you seek justice for this grudge. After hearing my analysis, Pan trembled and immediately understood. He realized the supervisor's secret. The supervisor had set all these traps because he didn't trust him and wanted him dead. Pan was lucky to have met me, otherwise, he'd have been harmed by the corpse Immortal long ago. If you don't put that supervisor in jail, you'll never find peace. Having his secrets is like a stone weighing on his heart. Until he dies, he won't sleep well at night. I helped Pan up, pressed him against the wall, speaking each word deliberately.